I'm Renata, and welcome to the Don't Mute Mental Health podcast. For our first episode, we're joined by Deja, a student representative for the DC State Board of Education. Hey, Deja, thanks for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. Can you start off by telling us just a little bit about yourself and why you're so passionate about mental health?
I'm a senior at McKinley Technology High School. I'm on the IT track with a focus in cybersecurity. My freshman year of high school, I was pretty depressed, and I just reached out to the social work team to say, like, hey, I'm kind of going through it, might need somebody to talk to. And from there, I went on a really intense journey of like self discovery and like just like I didn't know mental health was like even a thing. I kind of was always taught like just deal with it, keep moving, and everything will work out. But everything was not working out and things kind of got worse. So just knowing what I went through and knowing what other people are probably going through, like 10 times worse, or even like something that's small, it can be big for that person. So I just want to bring more awareness to mental health, especially in like the minority community, because it's not talked about a lot.
What would you say as some words of encouragement to encourage your peers or other students to reach out for help?
Um, I would just say mental peace is not something that happens overnight. You have to work with the person you're talking to. Like my social worker tells me, the only reason why I've been so successful is because I've put in the effort. Somebody can tell you something, but that doesn't mean you have to listen. So if you feel like you're getting good advice, listen and try and be patient with yourself. Like getting through depression, getting through anxiety, it does not happen overnight. I'm 17. I feel like I've been depressed my whole life, and I still get moments where I'm like back and I'm like, I thought I did all this work and now I'm still depressed. You have to be patient with yourself and try and take time.
How do you think that some of those traumatic experiences that students are facing affects them within school?
I know like with like a lot of the teen shootings that go on, schools don't talk about it, or it's kind of like we have this support if you need to talk about it, but it's like you see it on the news, then the next day it's something new. It's like we never take a moment to like talk about it or see how students are feeling mentally, emotionally, because these are like people's friends, like best friends. They grew up together and they're getting shot at 16, 13, 12, and it's like, oh, here's another one. And it's like people feel like, so are we just like numbers? Do people even care? I just feel like schools need to take more time to talk about these issues and like actually make students feel like they care, or even offer not just like, yeah, we're having puppies today, and then the next day it's back to normal. Like you can't do that, especially as a teen when your emotions are growing, your hormones are all over the place. Teens just don't feel like people actually care.
So while you're in school, you're able to talk with your school social worker, but outside of school, what are some things that you do to support your own positive mental health?
I try to, like, if I'm feeling something, I try to like self analyze. I mean, it doesn't work for like for me personally. I'm really in tune with my emotions, so when I'm feeling something, I'm able to like I can sit in quiet and kind of just like analyze why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. And most of the time I come to a conclusion and sometimes I don't. Um, I distract myself a lot with like reading or watching Netflix or watching YouTube. When I was really, really depressed, I like to draw because it was really distracting and I could just go like hours not having to like necessarily think about all my problems. I was just focused on drawing. So those are just small things that I did. I'd recommend still talking to someone, because talking to yourself doesn't get you anywhere, because it's just you talking to you and you validating your feelings, and that's not necessarily healthy. So always talk to someone, but taking time for yourself, learning to say no. You don't always have to go out with your friends, you don't always have to go out with your family. Just saying, hey, I want to take a minute to just be to myself. And sometimes it helps. You actually get to a place of peace where it's like, all right, I'm comfortable and I don't have to worry about anything.
I heard you mention that you chose to go to your school social work team and seek some more support. Why do you think that a lot of students choose not to do that, or why do they not access the mental health services that they have within their schools?
A lot of it is like they fear that it's gonna get back to their parents. Cause I know when we started our sessions, she was like, "Okay, I've seen you about 6 times now. I have to get parental consent to continue to like treat you." And some students fear that any of the information that they're saying, because a lot of it's like really personal that they don't like their parents don't even know. So they probably avoid it because it's like, I don't want my dad knowing or my mom or whoever is at home. They don't want them knowing. And also, it's kind of not an intimidating thing, but it's like whenever teams like talk about their problems, it's like, oh, get over it. You're a teen. So a lot of people feel like their feelings are probably just like invalid or that nobody's actually listening. So people rather just keep it to themselves. But just communicating that, like, if you're just talking about, like, your mom yelled at you, your social worker is not going to go back and tell your mom, yeah, she's mad at you because you yelled at her. They're not communicating every feeling to like your parents or your guardians or whoever's at home. So just if students feel like they have a safe place that's like separate from their parents, it'll also help. Because I know at first I also didn't want to talk to the social worker because there was unhealthy things that I was doing and I didn't want it getting back to my parents. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm not telling her anything. But then eventually, like me personally, I was really like I needed help. Like I couldn't continue going on the way I was and I just really needed to talk to someone. So, and talking really helped. And it also helped build like relationships with like my mom and myself. I really don't know if I would be here if I didn't have anyone to talk to. So just knowing that your social worker is your safe place, promoting that to students would be really essential. But even if you can't talk to someone, I journal. Like before I was even like aware of like therapy, I would just write down all of my feelings. And normally once you write it down, it's kind of like it for me at least, it feels like all right, it's on paper. This is how I'm feeling and I don't necessarily have to think about it anymore because it's on paper. So just journaling like not every day or every day kind of helps and then like looking back to see your progress is also like a motivator in a sense. I have a journal that I've been writing in since like 2014 and looking back at like everything that I wrote and it's 6 years later, it's just like, wow, I've mentally made a lot of progress and it kind of just helps bring things into perspective. So if you don't want to talk to someone, journal.
What are some of the other things that you would like to see us do as a district to improve our support for students' mental health?
I know like strengthening the bond between like adults and teenagers would help. Whether that's like people like teens actually knowing who their city council leaders are. So if they are having issues in their neighborhood, they do have that connection and council leaders will actually have like more traction on the issues because I know when I go to like the state board meetings, a lot of the council leaders do talk about issues that teens are facing even without I guess having that direct connection, but just strengthening that bond between like city leaders and teens would just help to be more transparent, and teens would also know like there is somebody speaking up for them. People feel like they know there's issues, but it's like, is anybody even talking about solving it? All people know is like, yep, prices are going up. Got to figure out how to make it to next week. But it just seems like everything's against us. So just knowing that there is someone speaking up and advocating would help, strengthen, I guess, the DC community in a sense.
Do you think it would be helpful for policemen and council members and different government agency workers to come into schools and have conversations with students during the school day?
Definitely. Not like coming in to stand on the stage and say a speech, but like actually coming into the classes, going to the lunch periods, like communicating, make people feel like they're not just a number or you're just using them to get a vote. Like, actually come in and be like, so how's this class going? What do you see in your community? Just like talking with people really would help.
And showing that they're truly invested in them as a person, as a
Exactly.
student. Most definitely. Well, Deja, thank you so much for talking with us today. It's been so great to hear the words of encouragement and also the insight that you've provided around mental health and how it affects our students on their day to day lives here in DC. We appreciate you coming in with us and take care.
Thank you.